a huge thank you to Chrissy. We were going to do this program live I think in March, and then we canceled, and a lot of people were bummed that we missed out. But so she is a Longmeadow resident, and I will let her talk about her business and what she does and all that she knows. I think the bottom left, if your background gets a little noisy, just please mute yourself just to keep the attention on Chrissy. But then there will be time for questions and answers. You can always use the chat feature if you have a question. And then otherwise there will be time at the end to ask any specific questions, okay? So I will let Chrissy take it from here.
Well, thank you, Lindsay, so much. I want to thank the Greenwood Center for inviting me. This is a topic that I'm passionate about, that I've been following kind of my whole life. So a little bit about my backstory. I grew up in Springfield with a single mom who put herself back through college when I went to kindergarten for interior design and became an architect. And so she has been dragging me to Brimfield and flea markets and auctions and estate sales since I was a little girl. And it's become one of my passions. One of the things I love the most is good quality furniture and history and just well-made things. And as all of you probably know, we're living in a disposable society. Most things now, a lot of people, especially, even my age and younger, a lot of them buy, the popular trendy furniture and things like that, they throw away after a few years. So, I started out probably 17, 18 years ago doing the Brimfield flea market. And then what I would do is I was out buying at tag sales and flea markets and collecting, and then I'd bring in all the Brimfield and hopefully I'd increase my price margin. And then maybe about 15 years ago, I turned it back to actually holding estate sales in people's homes. So if you're interested in downsizing and like say, you're the home you in for the past 20 years, which accumulates a lot of stuff, as we all know, and now you're looking to downsize. There's lots of ways to help you do that, especially one benefit of the pandemic is if you're stuck in your house, because it's an overwhelming task. As anybody knows that's ever moved, you have things in every cabinet, every drawer, every closet. One of the first things I recommend is having your children or your nieces or your nephews or your grandkids come through and pick out anything that they might like, because honestly, if it's something that's been in your house for 20 years, that maybe was your grandmother's or your father's, it'd be much better to give it to someone in the family rather than sell it at an estate sale for a lower, for just a $10 price tag. Once that's completed and you kind of know what you might want to take with you and either tag it and what's going to say you're moving to an assisted living facility or a smaller condo, that's kind of where I step in. Usually I work with a team of at least 1, 2, sometimes 3 of us. My mom is one of my best workers, by the way. She's retired now, so she helps me out a ton. What we do is we basically take a week. We come in, we go through cabinet, every drawer, every closet. We take everything out. We supply all the tables, the clothes racks, all the price tags. We do a ton of research if you have like a specialty collection, and make sure that, our price points are right on the money. And then we hold the estate sale. So that's kind of the big picture. A lot of folks nowadays are downsizing where they may just not be comfortable with an entire estate sale. They may only have 1 or 2 pieces that are too big for the condo or they don't want to take with them. I had one yesterday, they had a great baby grand piano. So certain things are easier to sell than others. I'm hoping the trend is coming back to good quality furniture. I'm really trying to push that with people, anybody that I talk to. Because even at a lot of the high-end stores, you pay a lot of money for furniture, and it's not always good, solid wood furniture. So that's kind of and there's so many ways to go about nowadays with the internet. If you're familiar with using the computer, and obviously a lot of you are, but there are many online ways to get folks to look at your items and possibly make you an offer, or you can set the price. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with Craigslist. So it's easy as taking a picture on your phone or on your laptop, logging onto Craigslist, and then they step by step walk you through how list your item, and for how much you'd like to sell it for. So the rule of thumb kind of is in the business is if you paid $100 for something at an estate sale, you'd probably get half of that. At a tag sale or garage sale, you'd get half of that. So it is better to kind of accumulate and then have yourself one good big estate sale rather than trying to put a few things out here and there at a tag sale. Because I find that once it leaves your house, the profit margin goes down a little bit. If it's in your driveway, if it's in your garage, it's like going to a retail store as opposed to going to a sidewalk sale. It loses a little bit of the value. So that being said, I understand how overwhelming it is and frustrating it is you want to see some progress. But my number one rule is don't throw anything away. And people laugh at me, but honestly, people will buy your half-used Windex bottle. They'll buy your Tide detergent. They'll buy your sheets, your pillowcases, your towels, your mattresses. People buy everything. And so in my business, I always say, isn't it better that they pay you to take it away rather than you else to come in and haul it away? So for example, a lot of my clients are like, oh, we called 1-800-JUNK and they came and picked it all up. But, then you paid them rather than having a sale and possibly making money off of those items. And, if you think about it, look around your house. If you sold even every item in your house for $1, I mean, you'd probably make, a good profit. So that's kind of where I come in. And obviously everyone's not comfortable with having an entire estate sale. A lot of people don't like a bunch of people walking through their house. But once you start moving and you sort of start boxing up and knowing what you're going to take and say your house is sold, it really doesn't feel like your house anymore. And, there is a big difference between having a professional do it and maybe, you folks doing it at home. In that, we kind of know what we do. We're doing this every single week practically. We have a staff on every floor, sometimes in every room. We put the smalls in a certain area so that we can kind of monitor the amount of people that and the traffic flow that's coming through your house. And just people can be a little bit invasive, so we tape off all the drawers, all the cabinets, all the doors you don't want to, you don't want people to be in. The other important word of advice I can give you if you're interested in having any sort of sale like this or downsizing is, you have to be thorough. I mean, that's kind of the time consuming part, and that can be the overwhelming part. But you don't want to leave a whole cabinet and just go, oh, I don't want anything in there. It's amazing what we find once we start digging and taking all the napkins out that have been there. You might not realize that, Uncle Henry left a baseball collection in his dresser, or in a trunk in the attic, there was some sterling silver, or, there was, I find everything. I found, people's engagement rings. I found baseball collections. I found silver coins. It's important to be thorough, and it is time consuming, but that's kind of where, if you have someone, and I pride myself on my integrity, and all the girls that work for me, we leave no stone unturned. We make sure that if we find something that might have been overlooked, that is sentimental to the family, or important papers, or something that's valuable that maybe they didn't know was there, we bring it to your attention. And then I have a network of a silver and gold specialist, an album specialist. I have a gentleman who, deals in kind of electronics. So I might have, and I have another gentleman that I'm friendly with that he gives me all my advice on tools. Because a lot of antique tools are highly desirable too. They bring in a lot of money. So, and the other good thing is too, if you're thinking about an estate sale, you can't just say, oh, only people want antiques or only people want, collectibles. It's great to have a collection of usable items, some collectible, everything. And that way, you have a little something for everybody. So whoever comes through your sale, will find something. And it's also good to have a good price margin, because you don't want people to come into your sale and everything be $400. Some people come with $20, but they want to buy some little tchotchke things, or they want to buy, they might buy, just a couple vases or something. I have one lady comes to every single one of my sales, and she buys all of the paper products and the cleaning supplies, which when you think of it is actually pretty genius, because that's stuff you use every day. And not that it's, you know, it's crazy expensive, but if you buy a box of cleaning supplies for $5 or $10, you know, that's much cheaper than buying it at the store. So you know, there's some savvy people out there that go to estate sales looking for particular things, as well as the collectors and the dealers, so to speak. So that's kind of what we do. And like I said, you know, the the um the market is that, you know, back in the day, you know, everybody entertained, and they entertained with beautiful china and gorgeous crystal and plated sterling silver serving dishes. That kind of era of entertaining is over. So my other words of advice before I leave you is, if you have beautiful china and you have beautiful Waterford crystal glasses, use them, enjoy them, you know, to put them in a china cabinet and have them sit there for 10 years. And then I come in and try to sell them. At this point, I'm lucky if I can sell a gorgeous cut crystal Waterford wine glass for $5 each. So if you have beautiful items that you love, and I love my stuff, use it. And then, you know, if it breaks, or if you can, I trust me, you can go out to another estate sale and replace it with something just as beautiful and well made, you know, pretty inexpensively. And comparatively to like going to Pottery Barn, where a wine glass is $12 each, I mean, you can buy beautiful Waterford ones at an estate sale or a tag sale for $5 each. You know, use your stuff, you know, start gifting it away. You know, if you have a niece that's getting married, maybe give her, you know, some of your china or some of your crystal, or, you know, a nice Waterford bowl or vase. Because, you know, it's to enjoy. I mean, I think your items are there to use and to enjoy. So that's kind of my spiel. I don't know if I answered all the questions, but I think Lindsay said we could take some questions if anyone had any questions for me.
Yes, and I know I get a lot of questions from the seniors about Facebook Marketplace. Is that something you can touch on? Kind of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tricks.
So in terms of all, I mean, right now there's probably, I know with the pandemic, some of the Facebook selling sites shut down because they were worried about, you know, cross-contamination and germs being left on items, which I think they have proven is not the case. But the great thing about Facebook Marketplace and Longmeadow Swap, and there's a place called Western Mass Tag Sales, and all of those online swap sites is, it's kind of, it can be a contactless situation. So it's easy enough as you have to go on Facebook, you look them up. So like I mentioned, there's Western Mass Tag Sales, there's Marketplace, there is Longmeadow Swap, there's Longmeadow Swap Room. The list goes on and on and on. But you join one once you're a member. And they're run by a group of, there's administrators on there. They sort of watch the site. They make sure that people aren't selling things like weapons or, you know, liquor or things they're not supposed to. And they'll kind of guide you. And there is, when you join, there's a whole list of what the rules and regulations are, just so that you know. But it is easy as taking your phone or taking your computer and taking a nice picture. So if you, for example, I don't know, what could I have? Let's see, this pot. Okay, so you're like, this is a really nice, it's a metal pot, little pot for planting. You take a picture of it, maybe take a little picture of like any nice details that it has. Like this one has nice little handles on the side. And then you post it on the site, and it will walk you through step by step. So it'll say, what are you selling? So you say, I'm selling a nice metal planting pot. How much? You put in the price tag. So, eBay is a great resource in finding what things kind of are selling for. That being said, anyone can price this pot for anything they want. So I always say, you know, people say all the time, what's it worth? Well, it's only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. So you could say all day long, this pot is worth $450, but if no one wants to buy it for $450, then you're stuck with the pot. I always say a good rule of thumb is, you know, what did you pay for it? So if you paid $10 for it, or you paid $20 for it, then I would probably list it somewhere in the $10 price range, right? So you put the price $10, and then there's a little thing, it says item description. So you can say, you know, a nice lightweight metal planting pot in good condition. You know, it is, this one is supposed to have that antique patina. You know, it's made to look worn, even though it's not an antique. And then the other thing you can put is, you know, long meadow porch pickup, which is great in this pandemic, because then what you do is you leave it out on your porch, and a person that's interested will just come, leave them on the end of the bat, take the pot, and it's contactless. You don't have to worry about that. Where it gets a little bit more difficult is when you have a bigger piece of furniture, which obviously, if you're trying to sell a china cabinet, you can kind of go about it the same way. You can take a picture of it. I would add the dimension, maybe a couple different angles, or if there's nice original antique hardware, maybe take a close-up of the hardware. If it has dovetail drawers, any added, you know, specifics about the item help you with the sale, in terms of selling. And then dimensions are great, because obviously if someone's looking for a china cabinet for their dining room, they need to know if it's going to fit in this space. And then what will happen is it'll say post. Once you hit post, a whole list of all of these online sites are going to come up. Western Mass tag sale, 413, 413 tag sales. There's probably about 20 sites that I'm already a member of. And once you start joining them, you can start. So in other words, you can post one item on one site and it'll go out to 15, 20 sites, which obviously the more exposure you get, the more chance you have for someone to purchase your item. This is where it gets a little crazy. If someone's interested in your item, what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to write on the item interested, and then they're supposed to send you an instant message that says, hi, I'm interested in your item. Is it still available? You know, question mark. So what I have learned to do is, because sometimes if you put it on 10 or 15 sites, obviously you can get multiple requests. So I just start at the very bottom, and the first part, you're supposed to go in order of the messages you receive. And I say, you know, yes, I'd like to pick it up. And then the second person, I say, you're second in line. The third person, I say, you're third in line, and et cetera, because you don't want to, if the first person changes their mind or doesn't show up, or for whatever reason can't come, you want to be able to then access the second, third, fourth person that's interested and not lose the sale. That's where it gets a little complicated. And you also, if you're going to do that, you have to write, or you should write on your post that it's been cross-posted, which means that it's on more than just one selling site. That way people know, even if they're the first person to be interested on this site, there may have been somebody that beat them to it on the other site. So I would say if you're just starting out, you might want to pick one site and list it, and then just see what happens. And I will tell you that the response time is pretty quick. So if you put this pot on and in, you know, a day, you don't have any interest, then either your price is too high or no one's just interested. That being said, sometimes I'll just take it off for a day and then I'll repost it, and maybe I'll lower the price. So if I started off at 10, maybe I'll lower it to $8 and see what happens. So the swap sites are a great way to kind of get your things out there without, you know, people intruding in your home. Of course, if it is a larger piece of furniture and you need someone to come and move it, then obviously, you know, you're either going to have to let somebody in your house to have them move it out, which if you do that, I would always recommend having someone else with you there. Or some people set up a meeting spot. So if it's something this small, you can say, look, I'll meet at the Longmeadow CVS. And you say, I'm in a black minivan, and they say, okay, I'm in a red Toyota, and you meet, and then you hand them the pot, they hand you the cash, and it's that simple. I know that a lot of towns are also offering for you to do it have the meetings in the police station parking lot, because then it's well lit. It's a safety issue. You know, you don't want to be meeting people in a back alley somewhere. Make sure it's a well lit, highly trafficked area. And it is a great way to get items out. I also offer that service, and generally pretty successful at it, because I do have a big network. So for example, once someone likes me or likes what I sell, every time I post something, they get a little alert that says, ooh, Chrissy Russell posted something. And so I have built a following of people that look out specifically for the items that I post. And obviously I've been doing this a while. I know how to navigate all those online sites and cross things and get it out to as many people as possible. So, sorry, that's my phone. Okay, any other questions?
So if anyone wants to maybe raise their hand, and then I can look who's let's see. So it looks like Linda White has a question, so I'm gonna ask to unmute her here. Linda, you're muted. Okay, there we go.
Okay. I guess my question would be, what percent would you take if you sold items for somebody? I guess that was probably the one question. Okay.
Okay, fair enough. The well, in terms of just item or even an estate sale, it's 30% of whatever the item sells for. So if you sell something for $100, you get $70, I get $30. And I run my estate sales kind of the same way. And, you know, people ask me all the time, well, what does your competition do? Honestly, I don't know, because I've never hired an estate planner. So I always just do so basically what I do is, depending upon the square footage, the size of the house, what is in the house, I charge what I call a booking fee. And that runs anywhere from $250 to $500. But that covers the cost of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of whatever week we book for you, of all of us coming in, all staff members, tables. I mean, sometimes we're lugging in 25, 30 tables, clothes racks. We organize everything. I'm a little crazy with the organization, pricing. So that booking fee covers that week of staff and time and research and ticketing. And then the weekend of the sale, it's 30% of whatever the sale brings in. And again, that covers my staff. It covers any signage that you need. It covers permits that you might need. Sometimes I put up no parking signs. You know, there can be quite a bit to it, you know, and, you know, if you have a house, like say, you know, there's things in the attic, there's things on the second floor, there's things on the first floor, there's things in the basement, and there's things in the garage, then I'll have 5 employees that somebody's on every floor in every section of your home that possibly have, you know, folks shopping through, so to speak. And I have heard that some estate planners, you know, oh, well, we charge money to move the furniture from the second floor to the first floor, which cracks me up, because to me, that's the business. You know, we move furniture. That's the number one part of the business. You know, we're constantly moving things. And the other thing that I can say about mine is I try to price 100% of the items. I really don't like when I go to even Brimfield or a sale and stuff's not priced, because I wonder, oh, is it a different price for you as it is for me? You know, does it matter what you're wearing? No, to me, the price is the price. And that doesn't matter if you're, you know, first or last in the sale. And then I also, you know, it's just a flat rate. It is what it is. And I cover all the extra, you know, I like I said, permits and parking and any of that I think you might, you know, be overlooked by, you know, signage. I have great signs. I've had great signs made so that people don't have any problem finding the sale, because, you know, those are some of the pitfalls I've learned over the years, is if they can't find the sale, they can't find you. So GPS is great, but it's also great to just get a lot of people that just might be driving by, and you want to catch their attention and get them into your sale. So there's no other hidden fees. There's also no hidden fees for me, you know, bringing things to my silver guy or my record album guy, because when they need a favor or they might need a consultation about some furniture at one of their sales, you know, we kind of do a barter system in terms of our experience and our knowledge. So that's pretty much a flat thing. So that question.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss, I can't pronounce your name, but I think you're unmuted anyway.
It's Angie. And I have 2 questions, actually.
Okay.
The first question is, do you do Connecticut as well as Massachusetts, or you're strictly Massachusetts?
Oh, no, I've done Connecticut. We've gone as far as Boston.
Okay.
We do in 2 weeks. I'm doing Westfield. We go all over. I mean,
Go all
you know,
over.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the
Okay.
travel time. And it's not even a problem. The only thing for me is I would have to make sure whatever town you're in, I kind of have to learn their ordinances, so I'll just reach out to somebody in the town hall and say, do you guys require a permit? How, a lot of times like a condo association can be a little bit of a stickler about parking. And so I just did one this past weekend in Wilbraham at a condo association, and they were very concerned about parking, and they didn't want inconvenience that's another thing. I don't want the neighbors to get mad, and I don't want the cops coming. So I try to make sure I smooth it over with everybody. I usually go knock on the doors. I introduce myself. I let them know there's going to be some activity there. But generally, we're there from, say, 9 in the morning till 2 or 3 in the afternoon. A lot of the ladies that help me are moms. So we kind of try to do school hours, although I don't know how that's working out for the future. But our mom hours. But we get a lot done. We move. We're strong ladies. We're very independent. We get in there. We move all the furniture. We do everything we need to do to get it set up and ready. But like I said, I do have to just kind of check in with the town and see what their situation is. And like in Wilbraham, I ended up hiring a girl, and I just paid her to stand out there and make sure that people parked in the right places.
Right.
Put no parking signs in front of all the condo associate, in front of the other neighbors, so people weren't parked in their driveways or on their lawn. And this one was lucky because it was the end unit, so I had a whole kind of field after that condo.
Right.
And so, but instead of having people park this way, I had them park in so I could fit as many cars as possible.
Okay.
I try to really be conscientious of, what's going on around me and the town and your neighbors and, all of that. So.
What do you do with the things that do not sell?
So then we kind of reconvene, so to speak, on a Sunday. Usually I try to take Sunday off, I try to take the day off. And then maybe on a Monday morning, I will come back and meet you at your home, give you your envelope of your profits. And then we kind of decide what you think is best.
Okay.
I'm all about reducing, reusing, repurposing. A dumpster is my last resort. I would rather give it away than put it in a dumpster. So that said, there's a lot of different venues to get rid of items. I know there's all the animal shelters will take bedding, the blankets and for the animals. I have friends that are principals of schools who some of the kids don't have jackets. So if I have nice jackets at the end of the sale, sometimes I'll ask the folks, do you want to donate these? So rather than even donating them to like Goodwill or to Big Brothers and Big Sisters, which I think is a great cause, a lot of times, kids in these inner city schools, they don't have access to books. They don't have coats. They don't have winter boots. So sometimes I'll ask the client, is it okay with you if we sort of pick out some of the better things and we donate them to like an inner city school? Or sometimes there's like the Greenwood Center, there's in Springfield, I believe, who they have like a little thrift store, and then they donate all their proceeds to cancer research. So there are so many avenues to donate things and get items into the hands of people who need them. Another trick I've learned is to, get a tote or a box and put maybe a bunch of school supplies or, paper and crayons and markers. And then I just might mark the whole box $5, and then a teacher will come in and, that helps her for, 3-4 months at school. So she can supply her kids with what they need for, a productive school year. So after all of that is done, there are the Goodwills, there are the Savers, there are the Salvation Armies. But the other thing I've kind of learned to do, if I really need to get, like if your house is sold and you need to get it cleaned out, sometimes I'll just start pricing things online. Like if the sale has happened and say we're stuck with a china cabinet.
Right.
I might then post it and put, $50. And then if it doesn't sell, I might, or I'll put or best offer. And then if it doesn't sell, then I might take it down for a day and put it back up and say, $25.
Right.
And then still doesn't sell, I might take it down. And then I might go so far as to say, look, free to good home. You come and take it away. And then at the end of the day, at least you, the homeowner, are not paying someone to take it away. And hopefully it's going to a good home, for someone that needs it, or, might not well otherwise be able to afford it, so there's lots of avenues I've kind of learned throughout the years. Cause like I said, even in Long Meadow here, we have what's called a swap shop. It's been closed because of the pandemic, but it's like a little place at the DPW where you can donate any usable item that someone else can then come and grab. So you might drop something one day and take something another day. I'm a big fan of that too, because then again, it's useful items, and rather than just throwing them right in the dumpster, someone might take them that needs them. But the good thing about a Goodwill, a Salvation Army, a Savers, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, a lot of those places will come right to your home. Like if you bag up a bunch of clothes, they'll take it, and you will get a tax receipt for them.
Right.
But and I'm always a fan of that too. Come and take it away, and hopefully, everybody, it goes to someone that can use it. So.
Right. One more question. You had mentioned before about Craigslist and eBay. In this day and age, I think some people would be leery to deal with people, with strangers. What is your thought process on that, and how do you, can you be trusting of somebody you're dealing with, and do you actually exchange money physically, or how does that work exactly for like Craigslist or whatever? I'm not exactly sure.
Well, honestly, knock on wood, I have been nothing but lucky on Craigslist and all the swap sites that I've used. I mean, I find that most people are, good people. I haven't had any issues. I've heard some horror stories, and I do understand that not everybody's is thrilled with people coming to your house. I get that.
Okay.
Sometimes for my clients is, if you have a small table or a small chair or something that I can move.
Yeah.
I have a porch with an overhang. I'll just say, look, I'll take it to my house and I'll post it for you. And someone's interested. I sold it. They want to pick it up tomorrow. Then what I would do is I would get in touch with you. I'd say, I sold that little chair. I need to come pick it up. And then I'd bring it to my house. They would pick it up here. And I would kind of broker the sale, so to speak. I'd give them the item. I'd take the money, and then I'd get the money to you.
Right.
Where it's a little bit hard is with the bigger items. But again, if have somebody with you, don't be there by yourself. That's number one. But if it's your neighbor, a friend, or, and try to do it during the daylight hours, obviously don't have them come.
Yeah, that's a good second point. Yeah.
Good second point. I've even gone so far as to, I one time went to a estate sale consultation, and when I pulled up to the house, I got a little nervous and I called my husband and I said, listen, this is the address. This is where I am. And if I don't get in touch with you in an hour,
somebody needs to come and see.
Yeah. I mean,
good point.
But in this day, you never know what you're like. I mean, I'm walking.
Exactly.
You have to kind of think about your safety.
Right.
I think that's another reason where I come to play for a lot of people is that I broker that sale. And like I said, unless it is an enormous piece of furniture that I can't move on my own. But what would happen was I would go to your house. Say I sold a china cabinet, and I would say, listen, they're coming to pick it up at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. I'll get there at 9:45 and broker the whole deal and make sure that, everybody's safe, and, and that way you're not in charge of it. The other really good thing that I don't know if a lot of people are aware of is there's an online payment app. It's called Venmo, Venmo, and then there's no cash exchanged, so the folks can just really go online. They find your name, they send you the money, it goes right into your bank account just like that. And then that way you're not exchanging money. But a lot of times in this swap shop, unless it's like $100 or more for an item, a lot of times I'll just say, look at the chairs on the front porch. If you come pick it up, just throw the money in the mailbox, and then it's completely contactless. And in this day and age, with what's going on in the world, a lot of people do appreciate that. Yeah. And like I said, I've never, knock on wood, I've never had any problem. The biggest problem I have is, and it is frustrating, is that, someone will say, oh, I want this item. I want it. I put it out there, and then they don't come. And then I've told 4 other people, oh no, it's, you know, it's pending pickup. They're coming to get it. And then 2 days go by, and then, you know, so sometimes you can lose interest because the other people have moved on or bought something else, and that first person didn't show up. So the other way to kind of you can also put in your post preference to first pickup. So, you know, the first person that can basically message you and say, yes, I'll be there an hour, I want it, they get it. But that also requires a lot of you checking up on people and, you know, keeping tabs on who's coming, and, you know, it can get a little confusing. But if you're just doing one item at a time, and like I said, you kind of go through the list of people that are interested and, you know, let them know, you know, you're the second person in line. Then, you know, sometimes I send a little reminder, like the first person, hey, are you still interested? Hey, are you still coming to pick this up? And if they don't get back to you, I mean, I think common courtesy requires you to give them a little bit of a window to, you know, people work and they have kids, and get back to you. But after, you know, a day, if they haven't responded to you, then I would sometimes even shoot them a message that says, I'm sorry, but I'm moving on to the next person. And then I go to the person who's second in line. I say, hi, the first person passed. Are you still interested? So that the online stuff can get a little bit confusing. It can get a little bit time consuming. But like I said, it's been a real blessing, especially in this whole day and age of everyone kind of, you know, keeping their distance. It has been a real blessing. So it does work. Yeah.
I know you do this for a living, but I have to say that, do you have any suggestions or tips about if you're trying to declutter yourself?
Well, the best advice
how to start, and you know, so you're not overwhelmed. Okay.
So what I would recommend is, I mean, I've had this happen many times. You know, people like look around their house and they go, oh Lord, where do I start? Right. And the first thing they'll do is they'll call 1-800-JUNK and they'll say, take half of it away. Don't do that. So what I suggest to everybody is designate a room in your house. So, you know, say your son moved out 20 years ago, go through his bedroom first, right? Take out anything that you want. The most important thing, if you're going to hire a estate planner or anybody that's going to buy your furniture, they can't go through your paperwork because that's personal. You know, that's something you have to deal with. And photographs, because I'm not going to throw away your grandmother's picture. I mean, you know, if it's in a beautiful antique frame, I might take it out of the frame and sell the frame, but I won't sell your grandma's picture. So pictures and paperwork are big. Like, you know, I found Social Security cards. I'm not going to destroy the Social Security card because I don't know whose it is or where it comes from. So if you can go through all drawers, all cabinets, and clean that one room out, then from that point of view, that you can say that room is estate sale stuff. And then as you go through your house, if you find, you know, this little vase, you're like, you know what, I got a million pots, I don't need any more pots. Either get some cardboard boxes, set up a folding table, and just start stacking things in there, you know, as you go through your house. And then it does take a little bit of, you know, diligence. You got to say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to work on the linen closet. And then you actually have to do it. Or tomorrow I'm going to tackle that cabinet. And then you spend a couple hours and you go through drawer by drawer and you say, okay, the other thing that's helpful is, and what I have done with even some clients is, I've started with them 2 months before the estate sale. And for hourly wage, I go in and every day we tackle something. We tackle the linen closet. We might start in the attic. We might start in the basement. We might do the garage. And that's what we do. We get 3 or 4 boxes. And sometimes I say, this is personal. So if I open a whole drawer and it's files from, you know, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, we'll put those in the personal box. And then there might be a box that's for your son or for your daughter. And you go, oh, well, that's so-and-so, you know, painted that in kindergarten. Maybe she wants it. We're going to put it in her box. And then we have a box that's estate sale. And so that way it helps to organize. And then when your kids come home for Christmas or Thanksgiving, you say, hey, guess what? Everyone's got a box. Go through
Right, here you go.
If there's something that you want, you take it out. I mean, you know, handmade Christmas ornaments, or, you know, that's why I say it's really important to get your children involved, especially because, you know, at a tag sale or an estate sale, you know, you're going to sell things for a fraction of the cost of what they're worth.
Right.
But that is why it's easy for me to go through your stuff, because I'm not sentimentally attached to it. But if you take an item and you go, oh, that was my grandma's and it was on her, you know, her every Christmas she put that ceramic Christmas tree out, and maybe even one of your kids would be like, you know what, I would love to have that, because every Christmas when I put it out, it's going to remind me of my grandma and then of you, and then it becomes a family heirloom that is cherished rather than me selling at a sale for 20 bucks, you know? So that's what I would recommend. And I know it's a daunting task. It's very hard. But like I said, if you do it step by step and you really kind of, you know, sit there, all I do is I go, yay or nay, yay or nay. Do you want this? Or if you have 3 vases, pick your favorite and put the other 2 in the estate sale. Or, you know, set up the room. Like I said, have your, you know, a spare room in your house. Put some folding tables up and just place everything in there. And then when your kids come to visit, you say, or your grandkids or whoever, you say, you know what? I put some items in there. If anybody wants them, take them, because otherwise they're going to go in a estate sale. And you'd be surprised how much, you know, the sentimental strings pull, and they might take some things home. And I think that's the best. I think that's the best thing when your kids take, you know, one of my kids said, Mom, when you die, do I have to keep all this antique stuff? And and my other son said, Mom, when you die, can I have all your stuff? So, you know, it depends on the child, you know, but, you know, hopefully they would cherish some of the items like you do. And that, I think that's the best thing.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm just looking if anyone else has a question, they can raise their hand or unmute themselves. I see Jack has a question. I'll try to unmute Jack. Let's see. There you go, Jack.
Thank you. Chrissy, earlier, did you say that there's a site you can go to that will cross-list on other sites to get greater exposure?
Yes. So when you go on, I'm using my phone. Otherwise, I'd love to show you on the phone. But when you join, say, for example, you join Western Mass Tag Sales, but you're also a member of Longmeadow Swaparoo or Longmeadow Swap. Once you, in the corner of your, once you list your item, and a picture is always great, as many pictures as you can, you know, put in there.
Yeah.
Once you hit the little red post, I think it's a blue post, a list of all of the online swap sites should come up. So I don't know if that happens because I belong to a lot of them and I do this a lot, or if I'm not 100% sure if you're new, how many of those swap sites will come up, but it will say, listen, try to, you know, the more sites you put it on, you know, the more luck you'll have. Try it. And if you hit that button, all these local online tag sale swap sites will come up. And then it's as easy as just pushing the button, and you could put your item in a matter of seconds on 15 different websites. The only problem with that is you have to manage all those thousands of people that you're posting. So if you just do one, you might only have, you know, some of them have 35,000 people belong to, I think, Western Mass Tag Sale. So when you hit that button, your post is going out to 35,000 people. When you add every site you add, you're adding another 10, 20, 30,000 people, you know, then you're going to get a lot of responses, and it could get a little stressful. Excuse me. But that being said, the more exposure you have, the more likely you are to get more people interested in your item. So, and sometimes there's specialty ones. So I know that in Longmeadow, there's one that's specifically for sporting equipment. And Craigslist is the same thing. You can on Craigslist, you can put all for sale, or all for sale. Or you can put like just antiques, or just furniture, or I know they have building materials, they have specialty items, they have all different all different categories, so to speak. So you can find that, you know, that one person that's looking for maybe just a grandfather clock. So you might want to put, you know, collectibles. So if it's something, you know, like Waterford or Yadro or something that's a little bit unique, you can find that niche, you know, for people that are looking for specific items.
That was what? Western Mass Tag Sale?
Western Mass Tag Sale is a great one. Longmeadow Swaparoo.
And you mentioned another. What was the other?
There's one called Longmeadow Swaparoo. There's one called, I think it's called 413 Tag Sales. I mean, there's there's a bunch of them out there. There's even some that are like Enfield, so if you're close to the, if you're crossing the state lines, you can get some folks in Connecticut too. And even on Craigslist, you can increase your mileage. So when I post something in Longmeadow, I get a 30-mile radius of exposure, so to speak. But there's a way to make it 100 miles. So, like I recently sold a big piece of machinery that a gentleman had a lathe in his basement. And I kind of felt like that was a specialty item that not everybody wants, a 1,000-pound lathe in their basement. So I increased my radius. I had a gentleman from Maine get in touch with me. I had one from Vermont get in touch with me, one from Boston. I think the gentleman who actually bought it was somewhere in upstate New York. But if the price is right and it's something they're looking for, folks are willing to make the trip and get it. So that does happen.
I saw Miss Savetti had a question. Do you wanna? I'll unmute you here. Oops, you're still muted. Miss Savetti's just trying to unmute. 1 second.
Okay.
Oop. Are you there? Oh, I think she might have.
I think she clicked herself off.
Oh no.
Oh,
Oh wait, no, she's there.
I'm glad we're all in the same boat.
I know, exactly. Miss Savetti, I can't hear you. You're still on mute. Oh, there we go. Good.
Okay, I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm from Vermont, and my daughter got me into watching this because she lives in Longmeadow. I used to live in Wilbraham. Quick question. I have a few items here, such as one of them is a huge jewelry case that my father had in his jewelry store in 1949, glass, similar to what you have in the back, but much larger.
Nice.
Would something like this be, I did have it on Craigslist, and it just didn't seem to, bring any buyers. And these sites that you're talking about in Longmeadow and the tag sale 413, if I had small items, would I bring them? Could I bring them to my daughter's house? Is that how that would work if I advertise?
Absolutely could, but I'm sure that wherever you live, there is so what I would start doing for you is I would go on Facebook and I would just maybe punch in, I don't know what town you live in, but even like, if it's Stockbridge or whatever, just put Stockbridge and see what pops up. There might be like Stockbridge swap sale or Stockbridge, or whatever town it is, or even Vermont. You might put Vermont swap and sale, or there's these sites are everywhere.
Okay.
I had a family who I helped move and downsize from Longmeadow, and they ended up going to Cape Cod. And then once they were at Cape Cod, she thought, why did I move all this stuff down here? I don't want it here either.
Okay.
So there was one called like Cape Cod virtual sale. And so then I ended up putting things on that site for her. And then she was able to have, kind of hit people in her neck of the woods, so to speak. If you visit your daughter often and, she's willing to do it for you, but I mean.
Yeah, because I don't do Facebook, so.
Okay. Oh yeah. But you know what? I bet you, I mean, like I was going to say, I could even do it for you. I mean, it really is as easy as taking a picture of an item, sending it to me on my phone, sending me and then I can post it for you. The only problem with Vermont is I probably wouldn't be able to broker the deal for you. So what I would probably have to say to you is, well, so-and-so is going to pick up your cabinet on Thursday at 10 a.m. And then
right.
From that point on, you'd have to kind of be in charge of it. But I'm sure your daughter could do the same thing for you. And if she can set up a Venmo account, they can wire the money right to you and right to her. And then when she gets paid, you say, okay, I got the cash and here's the item, and you could leave it out for them. So, I mean, a lot of just Monday morning, I had a little desk that I had, and I put it on for, $20, and a guy said, I'd like to pick it up. And I said, great, so Monday morning, I moved it out to my front walkway.
Mm-hmm.
He came, when I got home, the $20 is in my mailbox, gone. It really is as easy as that. When you get into a larger item or like something that's valuable or breakable, I would want to monitor that a little closer, and I would want to be there, pick it up.
Okay. And you have no concerns about money being wired to you?
No, because, well, a couple things I've learned is that PayPal, this is my 10-year-old, this is Gwen, she'll be taking over the business one. She's been trying to get my attention for the past 10 minutes.
Oh.
Sorry. Mother of 5 here, not very easy to
Other two, huh? Yes.
But so PayPal takes a percentage, can take a percentage. So that's why I have found Venmo, which there's 2 different ways that you can do it as well. So when someone sends you a payment via Venmo, you can either do an instant transfer, which means that right there on the spot, it goes right into your bank account. Sometimes charge you a percentage. So, you know,
Sure.
if the item's $100, you may only get $96. Venmo's going to charge you $4. But that's what I do when I'm running an estate sale. That way there's no worry that that payment has made it into my checking account. I get a notification, that money is in there, boom, we're done.
Done.
And I take the hit for the $3 or $4 because I would rather that than be chasing people for money.
Sure. Absolutely.
The other thing you can do is, like with family and my kids and stuff, is you can do a 1 to 3 day business transaction. So in other words, you're giving Venmo 1 to 3 business days to get it into your account, and then it's free.
Okay.
But said, you know, if you don't know the person, and you know, and sometimes, like if I have an estate sale on a Friday, I don't necessarily want to wait till Monday to make sure that I got paid for that item, because it's not my money, it's my client's money in there. So that's why I like Venmo. You know, that being said, I don't accept checks. I've had checks, and so pretty much I'm a cash only basis.
Yep.
And
okay.
You know, I make it so it's easy. You know, I mean, every ATM spits out $20 bills. So, you know, if you don't $45, make it 40, or, you know, make it 60. Make it easy for them. Put the money in the envelope and leave it in the envelope. And then, you know, I've never, I mean, I hate to lead you folks wrong. I've never had an issue with someone not paying for an item. One time I had a lady where the price was $65 and she only left me $60. And I kind of hemmed and hawed about it. And then I just shot her a little message and I said, I'm terribly sorry, but there was only $60 in the envelope and the item was $65. And she was horrified. She's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I wrote right back over and gave you the $5. And I said, no, it's really not the $5, you know.
Right.
But at the end of the day, that's the only time that ever happened to me. And it was clearly a mistake. And, you know,
Sure.
I mean, that being said, you know, not everybody's honest and not everybody is going to do the right thing. But so far, so good. And I do find that most folks that are in this, you know, Brimfield and antiques and there are certain status of people, you know, they know what they're looking for. They're, you know, and they're honest, good people. So
of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you very much. I've learned a lot. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're
I should have
welcome.
sold everything when I lived in Wilbraham.
Yeah. Well, you probably did well.
No, I know, really.
Well,
So thank you.
There's a lot of stuff out there.
I know. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Did
Bye-bye.
anyone have one last minute question? I'll look for hands. Celeste has a question. I'll unmute you here, Celeste. Go ahead.
I'm just wondering, you mentioned before Marketplace online.
Yeah.
And I am just wondering if I place something on Marketplace, does it go to other sites as well? Because somebody told me Marketplace sends out to various sites. Is that true?
I don't, well, because when I always post something, I'm always posting it to multiple sites because I'm trying to get as much exposure as I can. When Marketplace first started, I actually used to get upset that when I posted something, it automatically went on to Marketplace because, you know, how Longmeadow Swap started was it was a very small controlled group and it was only people that lived in Longmeadow. So in terms of the whole safety issue, you kind of knew it was your neighbors. It was someone that lived a couple streets away. Half the time I knew the people. So the safety issue was, you know, was manageable. Once they started kind of just automatically posting things on Marketplace, I did feel like, wait a minute, I didn't mean for that to get out to the masses. You know, I wanted to keep it kind of small. So there's a way that you can disable marketplace. So you can't just pick and choose the swap sites you wanted to go on. So if you only wanted to go on one, you just, you would disable that.
Oh, yeah.
Marketplace,
There, Dan.
not 100% sure. And that's where it does get out to a little bit more of like, you have a little less control of who's seeing your items. But that being said, never so if somebody comments on your item and says, yes, I'm interested, I'd like to pick it up, don't respond and say, okay, great, I live at such and such and come get it. Because then your address just went to all 35,000 of those people. So what you should also, I'm glad you brought this up because I forgot to mention it. When someone is trying to buy something from you, you should then take the conversation to a personal message, which is that messenger, Facebook Messenger, and then you have a one-on-one conversation with them, and then you give them your address or a meeting spot. And like we talked about earlier, if you're not comfortable with people coming to your house, and it is an item that you can throw in the SUV or a neighbor can, go meet them somewhere else. And then that way it's a safe, controlled environment. If they have to come to your house, like I said, make sure you're only giving them your address and that you have somebody there when they're coming. The other thing you can do is if listen, it's your item. If you're feeling weird, just say, I'm sorry, it's not going to work out. If you get a weird sense, just say, I'm so sorry, I decided not to sell it. My daughter wants it. Just, opt out and say, I'm really sorry, and move on to the next person. Or sometimes I have actually gone on to their Facebook profile just to sort of see, all right, do I know this person? Or, if there's pictures of them and their kids and their dogs, and I'm like, okay, good. Because you do have to watch out for yourself a little bit, especially if people are coming to your home and, you're doing a cash transaction. But a lot of times too, you got to figure they're in the same boat that you are. They're trusting you just as much as you're trusting them. So, hopefully it's a mutual respect and a mutual trusting that you come to some kind of agreement.
Chrissy, I'll just mention that on checking somebody who responds to you, checking their Facebook.
Yeah.
One time I was selling a piece of furniture and this particular person kept contacting me, but I went on to his Facebook page and there was nothing there, not even a picture of himself. So I didn't respond to him at all. Then he started getting mad. Aren't you going to respond to me? So I thought that was kind of a shaky guy, and you have to be careful of that.
Yeah, and when there's a red flag like that, you know what sometimes I've done, and it's a little white lie, but I just say, I'm so sorry. My mom came over and she asked, she wants it, so I decided not to sell it. It's something very just kind of gets you out of trouble with them, and you could even take it off the site for a little while if you want. The other thing, I'm glad you brought this up. It's happened to me quite a few times on Craigslist. If it's a more expensive item, I almost always get an email that says, "Oh, I'm out of the country. I'm going to send you a cashier's check for the amount, and then I'll have my. It's going to be more than the item, but when you cashier's check, then you give. I literally just respond no, and then I never hear from them again because 100% scam. And basically, what I think I found out is the cashier's checks are
fake.
Fake.
They're fake.
They're fake. So I have a pretty good, I'm sure we all, listen to your conscience. I have a good sixth sense about this. And if you're feeling like it's not right, it's not worth it. And you just say, no, I'm sorry, or sorry, it already sold, or sorry, I moved on to the next person. Or if you don't want to even get into that kind of a debate, you just say, I'm sorry, you decided not to sell, period, done. And then they'll leave you alone. And I've had the Craigslist people, come back to me, well, why? And I'm just like, nope, sorry, I don't do that. Period. I'm not doing the whole, and I've even sometimes I've reported them to the police, just said sometimes I take a screenshot of that email and I send it to the police and I go, here's another one. Whether they have time to follow up on all these scam artists, who knows? But you have to there are the people out there, especially like the bigger, Craigslist and Marketplace. When you get to the bigger audiences, you're bound to get a little more shady people. That's why if you can stick to like your local, like Long Meadow Swap or Long Meadow Swapperoo or your local town, chances are, the people that are buying from you are a friend of a friend of a friend, or, I mean, the best thing you can, obviously the best thing for you and the best thing for me, a little plug, is to hire somebody to just do it for you. And that being said, if anybody's been an estate planner for a while, they understand the business. They know that, Friday morning, the first people through the door are going to be the dealers that want to get a good deal because they want to resell and they want their profit margin to be, which I always say to folks, I don't mind if you're buying it to resell it, if you're going to pay me the price that I'm asking, because if I feel like I'm doing the right thing by my client and you think you can do better, great, but there's a lot of that too. A lot of people say, well, I had an antique dealer come through my house and he bought this and this and this. I can guarantee you he didn't pay you the retail price for what he bought, he or she, because everybody's out for their own profit margin, so, it's a matter of keeping it within a reasonable amount that I think is the trick to it. And if you've been doing it for a while, then you kind of know where you're at. Does that make sense? Does that mean, you know what I mean? So, like, I had a guy this past weekend and he flat out told me, he goes, I'm a reseller. And I had all these old rock albums and he didn't like my price. And he said, but I can't make any money. And I said, but I'm trying for my client to sell them at the retail price. So see, that's where, if you're going to a regular tag sale where maybe the folks aren't aware of what their items are worth, he probably does very well. But at an estate sale where the person running the estate sale should be more knowledgeable, then you don't get taken so badly. You know what I'm saying?
What is your commission again?
30% of anything that I sell. So if it's if it's a whole house full, or if it's one item, sorry, now my dog is barking. But a lot of times, like the whole house, I'm getting to the point where, I am doing entire estates, and I'm gonna move, sorry. And that is a little bit better for me because the smaller stuff or the one piece here and there, I don't necessarily have the time to dedicate. Not that it takes long, but when I'm in the middle of a full-blown estate sale and I am doing that for a client, sometimes, I don't have time for just individual pieces. So, but that being said, that's a lot of things that you could do for yourself. You could have your kids do for you. There's a lot of options out there. So,
Chrissy, to finish up, how can someone contact you if they would like to?
So I am on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. It's called Russell Antiques and Collectibles. And then you can, and once all my information is on there, my phone number and everything. I think that Lindsay has my card. I can show you one of my cards that has my cell phone number. Text and cell phone is easy enough. And I post, the other thing is I post all my sales on Craigslist every Thursday night before a sale. It gets posted on Facebook, it gets posted on all those marketplaces that we talked about, all those online swap sites that we talked about. And yeah, that's it. So
well, thank you so much for your time and expertise. And we know you're a busy mom, so thank you so much. This was so great.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Thank you. All right. We'll see you soon. Thanks everyone for coming. All right. Bye, Chrissy. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.